What's up, guys? It is 8 o'clock, and of course, thank you so much for joining me right here on What's the 411. I'm excited today. It's Monday, it's December. Happy new month. Okay, we are coming closer and closer to the end of 2020, and I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about what 2021 has in store. But then, of course, we're coming down to our last 10-day challenge. I'm excited about the 10-day challenge. I'm excited about everything. Like, this is just, it's December, and of course, this is one of my favorite months every single year. Not only because it's Christmas time, but just because it's just a time to be happy. Everybody's extra happy around this time. You know, it's the month of giving. It's just a nice time to be around. And of course, if you're in Toronto, you know it's like the time when the snow is coming down. We're just getting into the winter. It's just a great time to be alive, you know? So we're excited about it. We're happy, and we're coming to the end of 2020. So 2020 is coming in. 2021 is coming in. And of course, you know, December 10th, we are doing our 10-day, everybody. But right now, we are going to hop into our interview for tonight. I'm excited. We have got Yahaya. What's going on, Yahaya? How are
I'm
you?
doing fine. How you doing, Ellie?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. It's cold outside, but it's all good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're gonna be singing "It's Cold Outside" soon. Might as well start from now. Forget about Christmas. We singing that now, baby. It's cold outside. I ain't going.
Right? Exactly, exactly. So
Right.
I'm excited. I can't believe, we're in December.
Yeah.
2021 is right there. We can almost touch it, you know what I mean? And we're winding down the year. So I was just talking about, end of year goals, trying
No.
to make sure that we're reaching them,
Right.
smashing them out, because 2020 is just like it's almost done. So we still have time to get
Exactly.
in all those end of the year goals.
Yeah. But hey,
Yes,
it is what it is. We are here, still 2020 before the
yes,
calendar switches. Might as well just party
yes.
like it's still 20, you know? But
Of
yeah.
course, of course. So I'd like you to introduce
All
yourself
right.
and let everybody know all about you and what you do.
All right. Well, first I want to say thank you. Shout out to Ellie. Thank you very, very much for having me on. To have this conversation on live, and I think you're such a blessing to the world because of your giving heart and your ability to just give of your best. Like, I'm sorry, I gotta go on a rant a little bit here if you don't mind.
Wow,
Um,
thank you.
so a seat at our round table was a summit that happened not too long ago, and Ellie and Esther, they were on Zoom for like 8 hours, I think it was, straight. I'm like, bro, that is dedication. So I respect that. I just want to acknowledge that. So thank you again. And so I'll just get on with it. My name is Yahaya Baruwa. I am Oh, hold on. I can't show you the good book yet. I'm gonna just put it out away. I'm the author, the best-selling novelist. Struggles of a Dreamer is my book. This is the first book. It is the first book of a trilogy, part one, part two, part three. A bit more of that later on as we converse. But the book is fiction. It is about a character who is supposed to become a farmer like everybody else generation past. But instead of going for tradition as per the requirement, he risked everything to go after a recurring dream that he has. And the reason why I wrote the book is quite simply to inspire 100 million people with the courage to take a chance on themselves, to go after that thing they like to see happen in their life. So my aim in having written this book, it's such an easy read. It's not this skinny. This is only the first 25 pages. This is the full book itself. So the reason why I wrote this book is to basically be a push, like a tipping point when somebody's at the tipping point where they're like, oh my God, I want to go for my dream, but I'm so scared. So the book is like a tipping point where it spurs you into motion, and then the rest is up to you. But it's like a wheel that you roll off a cliff. I mean, no, don't do that. But I mean, you roll a wheel down the hill. That's what I was trying to say. But for the wheel to get into motion, it has to be rolled into on down the hill, and that's basically what my book is in the simplest sense. And I can go more into what inspired it later on.
Yes, yes. So you are amazing. So he is, he came on to the summit. So thank you so much as well for being a part of the summit. The summit was epic. It was an epic day that we had a bunch of different individuals come on. And Yahaya came on. He told us his story. He shared with us his experience behind writing. And I had to say, you got to bring it on to What's the 411, talk about it a little bit more, get in depth about it because you just left us hanging there. We wanted to hear more of the juice. You know what I mean?
Thank you,
So
thank you.
you got to really go back and tell us the story behind
Okay.
the inspiration, like behind the writing. What inspired this book?
All right. So it's many different things play their own individual role to help to bring the book into to reality. Shout out to Lorenzo, by the way. I see you, bro.
Yes.
But a lot of things happened back in 2001. We came to Canada. My mom, my dad, and the rest of my siblings. We all came to Canada. I was 12 years old, and as per the immigrant experience, kids, parents, they all come together. They bring their bags in one hand, and the other bag is full of dreams and ambition. And in that one other bag for the dreams and ambition, um, there's a special segment, and I'm talking about like 80% of that bag is the hopes and the dreams that the parents have for their kids. The 20% is for the parents, because they've already decided this is not about me. I'm making a move to come to a new country, and I know that things are going to be hard, but I'm ready for it. My kids, however, they will do whatever it takes to become a doctor, lawyer, whatever it is that I think is best. And I'm just being comical here, but it's a very, very important topic, because I think it's something that needs to be acknowledged. But being serious for a second, my parents sacrificed a lot to come here, as did a lot of people who came from a different place, who left their home, their comfort zone to make a new here. That was my background. My parents came here, and so you can imagine when my dad found out that I wanted to write a book in 2009 in my second year at York University, he thought I was going to abandon York to write a book. So he came to my room, and I kid you not, all he said was, Yahaya, you must go to school. He walked away. Didn't even acknowledge that I wanted to write a book. Didn't say anything. He just said that and left. So I'm like, wow, man, this guy does not support my dream. But at the time, being upset, resentful towards who I thought my dad was being, I, I was I just didn't see where he was coming from. I just thought he was not supportive. But in that same moment, the fear, the anxiety, the resentment towards him and who I thought he was being, I was inspired with the catalyst for the idea, the battle between a dream and tradition. Hence, hence it became the underlying story in my book itself, which is something that is captured in the book itself, the battle between a dream and tradition. So this kid wants to go for his dream. His father says no, but his father wasn't against him. His father was only trying to protect him, because the father, the mom, they sacrificed a lot in the process. So it was a growing process for me, and as an individual, as an entrepreneur, heck, as a young man just trying to find his way in this world. So it allowed me the opportunity to really see and understand that my dad wasn't against me. He was just being a dad. And that's the thing that you'll see in the book itself, the underlying theme. The character starts seeing his father as an antagonist, but that drives him to go for his dream, only to come back home to realize and get to know home for the first time. As like the saying goes, the end of a journey is usually marked when by like when you re-arrived at your starting point and get to know that point for the first time. So that maturity
Yes.
sets in. So all of those factors cumulatively make the book what the book is. Struggles of a dreamer, the battle between a dream and tradition. And I'm sorry about my varying accent. I'll tell you about the story of that later. I lost it. It's so weird. I tell you, it is so weird. I don't know I don't know what my accent is anymore. Like there's so many accents that just comes around. But anyways, we'll talk. Never mind.
It's the
So I'm just
dynamicness
telling you.
about
I'm
you.
just letting you know in case I sound weird. And you're like, I thought you said
You
you're
don't sound weird.
Canadian. Like, why you sounding American for a second? Or like, so there you go. I'm just letting you know. Hey, Stacy. Shout out. Sorry. Okay, Yahaya, shut up. Let her talk.
It's all good. It's all good. What's up, everybody? To everybody in the chat right now, what's going on, guys? Thank you guys so much for joining. Um, it's yes, when you travel too much, it's all good. Yup, for sure. Yes. So when you first, like, what was it that made you first realize you wanted to write a book?
um, it was in 2009. Um, that was the year I became an entrepreneur in 2007, October. It was around October, closer to Halloween. I went to this very first seminar. This guy was Brad Sugars from Australia, a very successful business guy, business consultant, and he was just telling the whole seminar how good the life is as an entrepreneur. But of course, as with any good story, nobody tells you all the hard work and all the bad days that you have. So I'm like, I'm gonna become an entrepreneur. That's when I decided. But that sent me on a trajectory to really find out what my purpose is and what it is I want to give to the world. So it's not just about making money. Money is great. There's no denying that. Money is fantastic because it gives you access, it gives you service, and be able to serve people in the highest sense of the word. But service above all else matters more than anything, because once you have service, money comes automatically. So um why did I why did I want to write a book? How that connected for me being an entrepreneur. It all started when I made that decision, but then it all started when I would try different things, try this, try that, until I realized that, I love inspiration, because I kept a blog at the time in 2008, just finding my own sense. And I kept a blog and I would post a quote, Yahaya's quote of the day. If you Google it, you'll find it. Yahaya's quote of the day, where I will post a quote and I'll just write something I thought about it. And the same thing, I'll just keep going on and on and on. And then eventually I stopped doing that. 2008, I wanted to do it every day for a year. And I did that 80% of the time. And then 2009 came around. I set myself a goal. I want to write a book. Um, I want to inspire people. I want to inspire people in one way. I didn't know I wanted to write a book, and the idea came to me, and I was scared. So I was like, you know what? I want to inspire people, and through that, I want to make my first million as an entrepreneur. And this is the first time ever telling anybody this, but um, I want to make my first million. But then I didn't know how I was gonna do that. But then I knew I had to, serve. So I started to engage and learn and try and figure out my way. And then Oprah Winfrey, I was listening to, I think it was Super Soul Sunday at the time. She said something along the line that all you gotta do is ask, what is my purpose? Just keep asking that, and it'll come to you. And the trick is, you won't even realize that you have found it. And so I decided I was going to write a book to inspire 1 million people with the courage to take a chance on themselves to reach for that thing they like to see happen in their life. I didn't know what I was doing, but I decided I wanted to write a book. And that was that. Because I love storytelling and inspiration. And I didn't know at the time that it would come so easily for me, but I needed to make that decision first, that I was going to do it. And that set me on a trajectory. So one book became another and another, and I don't know what the future holds, but we'll see. Um, yeah, and that's how I became a novelist, and I love it. I absolutely love being a novelist. Like, stories come to me like that. It's effortless for me, and I'm absolutely grateful and blessed to have that.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. This is definitely so inspiring. You know what I mean? Like, but you need to talk to us about you going door to door
Yeah.
and making these sales. Like, I mean, I was just blown away when I heard about you doing this. I was like, I've got to like that. That's what first inspired me. I went on to where were you featured? It was
George Trump
oh my
office.
gosh, Afrobiz.
Oh,
Afrobiz.
Afrobiz.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
went on to
yeah.
Afrobiz.
Right.
Yes, shout out to Halima. And I was reading the blogs and then I seen your story and I'm like, what? I need to get in touch with this guy. I need to find out how this amazing. But you got to tell the story. Let us know.
Sure. Thank you. I'm humbled. So yeah, it connecting to where I left off. After having decided to write my book, I knew being an entrepreneur, I really wanted to own my stuff. Kind of like Jay-Z, kind of like Paulo Coelho and all the other people out there, the importance of ownership, you know. Um, I decided I want to own my stuff. So I wrote my book, and from the very beginning, I knew that I wanted to start my own publishing house to publish my own work. But again, when you start off on a journey, you don't really remember all that. You don't see the hard work that is to come. You just decided. The excitement kind of just blocks all of that hard work that is to come. You don't even think about it. So, which is a good thing, because if you see all of the hard work that you have to go through, you probably won't take action. And sorry I
Right?
speak so fast, by the way, but we'll just keep
Oh,
going.
it's all good.
All right. So, um, uh, so so yeah, it started from there. I wrote my book by hand, and long story short, I hired people that I needed to work with, freelancers, cover designer. I hired to work with them, layout, professional editing, and then eventually everything is done. The book was produced. I went to press. I worked as a security guard for about 8 months to save up the money I needed to pay all of these people, because I didn't want to incur debt in the publication process. And fortunately for me, looking back, that made me value each and every step, because I'm spending my hard-earned money. I did so many night shifts. I was working God knows how many times. I was the guy guard that security would call. Yahaya, some guy just canceled. Will you be available? I'm there. I was working 6, 7 days a week. I was that guy. And I'll share the
Wow.
reason why I'm telling you all of this. That all of this cumulatively made me the person I needed to be able to go door to door, because my skin, my whole body is in the game. My
Yeah.
money was up. It's in. It's nobody else's money. It's mine. Everything was on the line for me, and I needed to take that chance. And the book came out in 2011, January 22nd. I sold to friends and family. I quickly exhausted my warm market, people that I knew. And then I had to go door to door. So I started going out door to door, selling my book. First day I went to my friends and neighbors' house, I was so excited. I sold 10 copies. I was like, what? 10 copies? Let's go. So I was so happy. But
Yeah.
those were people that I knew. And
Mm.
as you get further and further away from the shores, it gets deeper and deeper and more scary. And only
Yeah.
God knows what monsters lurk beneath the dust. And so as I went further and further away from my comfort zone, my neighborhood, people that knew me and I knew them, or at least saw me here and there around the neighborhood, I became a total stranger knocking on people's doors. And that was when everything really set in. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying, because you don't know who's going to open the door, what their reaction is going to be, how they're going to treat you. And I was always self-conscious. I'm like, bro, what if they think I'm just a scammer? But then another thought would be like, man, this is a hard way for a scammer to make money. Scammers usually go for the easy route.
True.
So we're good. $20 for door to door, I'm okay with that. And so yeah, I would just go door to door. And the first few days when I first started, I went from 10 sales to like two to three was my average for a really long time. And then I became good. I became good in that nothing about me changed, my appearance, but my perspective changed. I went from seeing
Mm.
people as enemies to seeing and as them seeing me as a potential enemy, to me seeing them as they're just people. All I'm doing is providing them with the opportunity to read my book. So those who want to read it, they'll absolutely read it without question. They'll buy it. And those who don't want to read it, they won't even make time for you. So if it stopped becoming about getting a sale to becoming, I'm just here to tell you about my book. It takes 1 minute of your time. That's it.
Right.
And those who say yes, I tell them. And those who say no, I'm already running to the next door. And that
Yeah.
became my mentality. So it's not so much about I gotta make the sales. It's more about I gotta let people who want to listen, give them the opportunity to listen. And those who don't want to listen, I'm absolutely fantastically happy with that. I didn't waste your time, nor did you waste mine. So
Right.
one thing I really learned, one thing that made my sale go from 3 to 4 to 25 to 30 within the same period of time. I was selling 3 to 4 between 4 to 5, 3 to 4 hours, because I would peak time is 4:30 summer hours. People are just coming back from home, but like I like to maximize my hours. So 4:30 to 5, and 4:35 start time, and then till about 9. That's like pushing it when it's getting dark. People look at you like, "What are you doing out here? It's dinner time. Go home." But like, so like little things like that, I would keep going. But within that same period, I went from selling 3 to 4 copies to selling, on a bad day, 15 copies. On a really good day, 25 copies. And my average was between 17 to 25 copies. Obviously, start time dependent. So it wasn't because I changed anything about myself. It's because I changed my perspective. I stopped wasting time with people who weren't interested. And I say I stopped wasting time. I stopped wasting their time. I stopped wasting my time. I only spent time with people who wanted to listen. Hence, my ratio went up. And that was the change. And I just started to have empathy. Not everybody's going to be interested in your book. And that's that. And people are busy. I'm just an interruption in their life. It's my fault that they're yelling at me. Simple. And when I understood that, I stopped being afraid. And going door to door allowed me to really get to know my story and how to communicate it very quickly. And that made my next step of selling my book in chapters Indigo possible. And that in itself made my above average book sale possible, because I had to pay that price in going door to door. And that in itself, something I'm really grateful for. So, from being shielded from the hard work to really knowing the hard work and getting that veil removed and be like, oh, you want to do this? You want to do this for your mom or your dad? You want to pay off their mortgage? That's fantastic. But you ready to get to work? Because this is the price you're going to have to pay. So little things like that. And that is something that got me. I'm sorry for the long answer, but here you go.
No, this
Okay.
is what we need to hear.
Okay. All
This
right.
is,
Cool.
of course, even Stacy's saying this is making me amped. And I'm telling you, this story is so inspirational, man. Like,
Thank you.
yes, you definitely got to put in the work. In order to get the results, you need to put in that work. So amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
But Lorenzo did mention that you wrote the book by hand,
I
and that's
did.
another thing that
I did.
is super inspirational. So you got to talk to us about, why you write by hand, and then how you managed to write that entire book and all your books by hand.
All right. So, plain and simply, the reason why I wrote by hand is because I suck at typing. And that's it. That's the long and short of it. I suck at typing,
Yeah.
but that also allowed me to really focus on using my strength, which is thinking on paper. Here, I'm going to show you very, very quickly around my office. This is messy and everything. But, so I'm just going to show you. So I think on paper. This is all of my to-do list from back throughout the year.
Wow.
I mean, not throughout the summer. And people put gums underneath their table. My fiance was making fun of me, but she's like, you put freaking papers under your table, because I have so many. I decided I'm just going to keep them. So I like to write by hand because it enables me to think better. But I didn't know that until I just started writing by hand. And I'm grateful to have realized it earlier in my career. So just wanted to show you guys, this is one of the books that I wrote my first book in, and I still have it. This is that. And This is my second book that I wrote by hand. And this is my third book that I wrote by hand. And you see how really crazy it becomes. Like the writing goes, it's just so tiny. And my third book is about 100, no, oh God knows, I don't know. It's a lot of letters and words and whatnot. So the worst thing about writing by hand is typing everything up after you've written it. That's like, yeah, that was the hardest thing, but it enables me to think better on paper. And I feel like I'm not experiencing a roadblock by the way of technology, because my thought could be going 100 kilometers an hour, but I can only keep up at 20 kilometers an hour typing. But writing, I can just write, without even, slowing down. I just write because it comes so easily in that regards. And I don't have to worry about batteries dying or any whatever. Yeah.
Very true, very true. And they do say there's something about writing things down with pen and a paper,
Right.
like it brings the story more to life.
I agree.
So
I agree. I agree.
amazing. That's just phenomenal. Phenomenal,
Thank
man.
you.
Phenomenal. So talk to us about some of the feedback that you get from those people that have read your book, people that you know, and then people that you don't know that just, they hit you up and they're like, Yahaya, this is, sick, crazy. Talk to us about it.
I'm gonna tell you from the get-go. I have a habit of replying fan emails very late, and the reason is quite simply because I get really anxious about opening fan emails. I don't know why,
Right?
but I just do. And I'll give you, like, this is my first book, and my email is on the very last page of my first book. I don't even ask people to send me a review, but I know if you went out of your way to write me a review, it's actually legit. I don't want to ask for it. But in my second book, I asked. I don't care. I'm like, you're gonna tell me a review, please. But the reason why I feel anxious is not because I'm afraid of a bad criticism. Hey, at the end of the day, every band has a fan. I'm not going to stress myself over people who, they're not interested in what I have to write. And that's okay. It's life. And that's just what it is. But it's like, I just, um, the reviews have been really good. And I've had reviews from people who didn't like the book. That's just what it is. And, but overall, it has been really good. I think the biggest review, or should I say the most impactful review that I've gotten was from a 10-year-old. I kid you not. He emailed me. Oh my God, please forgive me. I have to look for this thing. I screenshotted it, and he emailed me saying, Yahaya, I read your book. No, I think I'm reading your book so far, and it is outstanding. Or something like, I don't know. It was like, huh? I was like, geez, thank you very much. It was so touching. Little things like that just really, it makes it just reminds you to keep going. And from
Yeah,
somebody so young, it just captures that authenticity. They didn't have to do it, but they did. And
right.
I've been very fortunate in that when I started out selling my book, well, after having gone door to door, I started to sell my book in chapters back in 2013. And, I just never stopped. I just wouldn't stop. I just kept showing up every single time selling my book. And eventually, I would go to the same store, and people who have bought my book months ago would be like, oh, I just wanted you to know I loved your book. My daughter saw it. She read it. Or like, my grandfather read it, and he's making all of us read it. I'm like, geez, thank you very much. Sometimes I get reviews, and I don't know what to do with it or like how to react to it. I'm a person of faith. So I just say, thank God. That's it. I just say thank God. I can't find that review, sorry. But anyways,
It's all good.
but yeah, I just say thank God, honestly, because I feel like you don't know how powerful of a story you have. And I'm not referring to myself, but I'm referring to myself in a way of my own experience as it relates to you and everybody else here. You don't know how powerful of a story you have um, until you just, like, you will never know, rather, how powerful your story is. But your responsibility is to share it anyways. I gotta write
Right.
that down, jeez. But like, no, but for real, honestly,
Yeah.
you don't know how powerful your story is. And being human beings, we criticize ourselves without even realizing it. It's habitual. And that in itself kills the value of the story that we have. And then we go and hear somebody else, and then their story is fantastic, but then we fail to realize that our story is fantastic too, and
Yeah.
we rip somebody else the opportunity to have that mirroring effect, because at the end of the day, a story is all a mirroring effect. That's why if a person watches a movie, like Black Panther or Titanic or whatever, somebody who wants to fall in love or is in love, he knows what love is, they relate to Titanic and they bawl their eyes out. I almost cried
Yeah.
in Titanic. I don't know. I wasn't sure. Maybe I was sweating, or maybe I did. I don't know. But anyways, um, like Black Panther, it relates to a people. It's like people want to see themselves in a story. People want to see
Yeah.
themselves, and that's why stories will always be powerful. I don't care what anybody says. Stories will always
Yeah.
be powerful, and that's why I believe in the medium of storytelling, because it's something that offers people the opportunity to see themselves. It's not about the storyteller; it's about the story listener. They are the one who, for whom the story is everything. It's just giving them a mirror to look at themselves and say, this is you. Look at it. Appreciate it. Sorry, this is weird. But anyways.
Yes.
So like, yeah, there you go. So
Yeah.
yeah. And
Jeez, no, but you
yes.
are, I wrote that one down. You will never know how powerful your story is until you share it.
True. Jeez.
Yahaya. That is your quote right there.
Thank you, sure. Thank you, sure. Thank you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. No, but for real, you are definitely inspiring. And just you telling your story without us even reading the book is
Thank you.
inspiring.
Thank
Just
you.
the history behind you going ahead and reading the book.
Thank you.
So talk to us about the trilogy because there's three of them, three
Right.
books. How do they connect?
All right. So I will show you. Oh boy.
Okay.
Let me sit here. Okay, so this is, I hope you guys can see, Struggles of a Dreamer, Tunde, and Ellie. The Adventures of Ellie.
Yep, yep.
When I found out your name was Ellie, I'm like, what? Ellie? In flesh? Really? Yo, you're like, you're on the book. And I even, like, we never met. So there you go. Shout out to Ellie. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I love that
Oh
name.
gosh.
And so Struggles of a Dreamer, and I'll go through it very quickly. Struggles of a Dreamer, it's fiction. It's mainly about a character, Takute, who is supposed to become a farmer like everyone, but he risked everything to go after a recurrent dream, hence capturing what we're supposed to do versus what we are required. And then you have Tunde, a man of lost ambition. Tunde is the minor character in Struggles of a Dreamer, the beggar you meet on the streets of New York City. He becomes the major character in the second book, hence the name of the book, Tunde, a Man of Lost Ambition. So you get to see his story in its fullness, how what had happened to him, and from him being a beggar to reuniting with his wife and son, Ellie. Which brings me to the third one. The Adventures of Ellie is about Tunde's wife in Nigeria. And I sought to capture some of that immigrant experience in that um, there are many reasons why people leave their home country, their comfort zone, to start a new life in a new country. And a lot of people, they leave for different reasons, but whatever those reasons are, all of those things contributing to causing a very devastating effect on that country or that place. Brain drain. The smart people are just leaving, and draining the resource. The resources doesn't necessarily exist in the ground. Yes, it does, but at the same time, it doesn't, because if you don't have the smart people that will make use of that to bring wealth to that country, might as well not have that resource because it will be misused. And I feel that's something that's affecting on not just African countries, but all over the world. People of greater abilities and talents are leaving to economies that will reward them even more profoundly, because at the end of the day, it's all about Maslow's hierarchy, looking after your parent, yourself, your family, food safety, security. If you don't have those basic situations met, you're going to go to a place that exists that can provide that for you. So I wanted to capture that in Struggles of a Dreamer, Tunde and Ellie, the immigrant story. So Tunde, in the first book, you meet him, he leaves Nigeria. He had left Nigeria to pursue what he imagined to be a more ideal life in North America. He arrives, but he becomes a beggar. So I wanted to capture that starting from the bottom aspect that immigrants often experience, where after having left their home country, they have all these hopes and ambition and visions. Anyways, so they come to the new country and they have to start all over again. You see taxi drivers who are medical doctors from back home. Because the ground running, they have to. Oh boy, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, so yeah, like they have to hit the ground running and they have to make their life work here. So there's that starting from the bottom. And Tunde goes through that. So he arrives, he becomes a beggar. So I wanted to illustrate that. I know that's a bit far fetched, but I want to illustrate the fact that people have to start from the beginning. And oh boy, can you hear me?
I can. You were chipping out for a bit,
Oh,
but you're
okay.
back now.
All right, super. So Tunde is in North America in the second book. Now in the third book, Tunde, having left home, he disappears without contact from Ellie for a year. She doesn't hear from him. She doesn't know what's going on because he had become a beggar. He was too ashamed to call home. He had to start all over. So there's that fear of loss. But then in the third book, it's like a flip side, the other side of the coin. So you get to see simultaneously what was happening in Nigeria while Tunde was away in North America. And in the second book, you see what was happening in North America while Ellie was back in Nigeria. So you get to see the strength of each character as they are very much apart, as they are very much together. So I wanted to highlight both sides of the world, and also wanted to paint the idea of the ideal true love, in that it's not without its pains and struggles and costs. It's not all rainbows and sunshine. I mean, heck, I'm just a kid. What do I know? I mean, I prayed for a book and this is what I got to write. So don't ask me, okay? But anyways, I'm just playing. Um, like I just wrote what came to mind, and I just wanted to paint that idea that it is possible for love to exist. Like if and I'll say this kind of as a bad way thing. Like when I was writing the third book, I really struggled with the idea that people might think me ridiculous that Ellie had to wait an entire year without hearing a word from Tunde and still believing that everything is okay. Like
Yeah.
that for me, it was ridiculous to. Well, I fear that people will think that was naive and ridiculous, but I wanted to believe that that's true. And I've heard stories of that, and some of my advanced readers have confirmed it. They're like, "What's the problem?" And I also wanted to capture the fact that the circumstances under which Ellie and Tunde met solidified the relationship for that to be possible years down the road. So that I wanted to paint how strong their love was. Even though it may seem unrealistic, I really strongly believe that it is realistic because like it just captures the essence of what that love is. Just love in the presence of fear, but also in the presence of faith, knowing that she's okay and he's okay. And that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to paint. And you know, I believe that my third book, by God's grace, is my best book yet because is the most punishing book I've ever done. Oh my God, it was hard. It was hard.
Really?
The first book took a year to write because I didn't set a goal to finish it. The second book, to finish it in a year. The second book took 30 days to write, but it took years to finish it because I was writing by hand. The third book took 35 days to write, but it's double the size of the second and the first book combined. Well, no, it's the size of the first book and the second combined. So it's 126,000 words. First book is 47,000 approximately, or 51,000 copy length words now, and the second book 47,000. So, and the third book cost me close to $12,000 to edit, and I had to work hours to pay for that out of pocket, and it was nerve wracking. And yeah, like this is a bit of it, the PDF of it, and it was hard work,
Wow.
and it still is. But honestly, I knew that I could not rush it. I didn't want to rush it because fans would be pissed if I didn't. If and here's the crazy thing: people know more about your book than you will ever know. So you cannot take any shortcuts. You can't. So you have to give people. It's like I feel like for my own sense, for my own integrity, I had to pay the price. I had to do it for the reader who's going to be reading the book. And plus, I want to look back on it and be like, you know what? I'm happy with the book, and absolutely am, and I'm grateful for it. And thank God for this year because it has allowed me to really do and make the book better.
Jeez. I honestly am inspired to read that book. Like I need to get the trilogy. I need to
Thank
get
you.
it
Thank
so
you.
that I can read it.
Thank you. It's
But
coming out soon. Not
this,
available yet. It's
yeah,
coming. Yeah, it's coming.
no?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We will patiently wait for that
Thank you.
because yeah, it sounds awesome. But you talk about love, you talk about, making sure that there was the ability for us to see that this love exists. And as you were speaking about it, I'm like, this definitely speaks to your faith because anybody who has faith can see that you have that faith when you put that when you're talking about it, you can just hear it in your voice. So could you
Thank
talk
you.
to us a little bit about your faith in, you said you have faith. Just
Right.
talk to us a bit about that and how it's helped you to pursue this dream.
Prayer, prayer. I remember when I was writing my first book, I have a thing about writing um, while everybody is asleep. I feel that's like the best time for me. Well, one, there's no distraction whatsoever. But when I was writing my first book, I was sitting a lot at my parents' dining table. I was living at home at the time, and oh, excuse me, Mom. At the time I was living at home and I was keeping it a secret, by the way. I wrote the book in secret. Nobody knew I was working on it. My mom almost caught me a few times because she would go out to use the washroom and she'd be like, "What you doing over there?" She don't sound like that, but it's being
Yeah.
dramatic here. But yeah, she called me once a few times, but I would just sit at my table. I had this old Dell computer. It's like 50 pounds, I guess. And I was working on this thing, typing what I had written down and everything. And I was just, but every time before I start writing, and my schedule was about 12 to about 4, 5 a.m., jump on the couch and sleep because people would be getting ready to go to school or work. And I had a weird schedule. And so, before I would start to write, I would always pray. I would always pray. That's it. I would always pray. Yes, the book is available on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle. But if you want a signed copy, strugglesofadreamer.com. You can get it there and you can actually get started with the first 25 pages. Sorry, I just wanted to answer that. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I had to go, I would always pray when I start writing my book. And my prayer was this, and I'll give you an example of it. And I prayed on paper. I would always say, you know, like I would like because when I first started, my goal was to write a book that would inspire 1 million people with the courage to take a chance on themselves. And I had a dream. I think it was earlier this year or last year that you're thinking too small. and that became 100 million. But then a lady confirmed it by saying, "Sorry, did you say 1 million or 100 million?" I was like, 100 million, and that was that. But and my prayer was on paper, you know, God, I thank you for the ability, or God, I thank you that I'm able to write a book that is so good that 1 million people went out and bought it. And then I would frame that same statement in the question and be like, what did I write in my book that was so good that 1 million people went out and bought it? And I would just write that over and over and over and over in a full page. And then I'll start writing. I just wrote what came to mind. I never judge it. I don't say, oh, this is this, this is that. I just wrote. And I'll show you an example. I did the same thing for my first book. I did the same thing for my second book. And I did the same thing for my third book. And, oh, good. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to find this. Oh, this is book 2. Okay, so this is I'll show you this. So this is like when I write, I don't care. I just set my goals. I don't care whether they're reasonable or not. I just set my goals. And um this is one of the crazy so this is the start of my book. Book 1. And I dated it.
Okay.
This is when I started, July 21st, 22nd. I mean 25th of 2017. And this is the third book, by the way. And the first thing I wrote before I even started is, this is the greatest book of all time. And it sold more than 300 million copies. I had a different number, but then I was like, that's too small. I'm gonna just put a 3. 300 million copies, and I wrote that. And that's that. And I'll show you. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm showing you all of this. I never show people stuff like this. This is like top secret stuff. But okay.
Yes, we're getting the juice.
Yeah. So it's like, and then this is when I finished the book. This is when I finished the book. I finished the book in August 28th of 2017, 35 days. So
Wow.
I marked the beginning and I marked the end. And everything I do, I always pray. I always pray. I always pray. And that's one thing I give credit to when it comes to writing a book. People are like, how do you come up with these ideas? I'm like, honestly, I don't know. It just comes. And that's it. It just comes. And that's it. I don't know how else to describe it. I just pray about it and it just comes. I just trust it. And when I go to write my book, I never, like, I will make notes here and there as to like who, for example, who is who, and sorry here, I'm just referring to stuff. Man, I haven't looked at this thing in a while. So like I would just make notes as to what I wanted the stuff to look like. Like for example, this is some of the stuff like preface, notes, ideas that will come to me as I write. I'll just write that. Ellie and Femi, life in contrast in Nigeria and Canada. Ellie's faint count. How many times Ellie fainted in the book? Sorry, Ellie fainted quite a bit in the book. I'm sorry. And and then Tunde cried as well. So like so many things. I just make notes like that because it gives me ideas on how to write the book. But I never work with a skeletal version. I never know what my book is going to be about fully. I just know that it's about Ellie's story, what happened while she was in Nigeria. What happens, I find out just as much as the reader is finding out. I'm writing the story. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. What happens next? I just write. And that's how it just unfolds. I never plan it. And I think that's where the power of prayer comes in for me. I pray a lot. Especially when I'm struggling, I pray a lot. And that's where faith comes in for me.
Big. That is big. Lorenzo has a question. Do you go off creative writing pyramid? I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
What is that, Lorenzo? Tell us. Educate us. Because I never heard
Into
of that
the
one before.
creative
Creative
pyramid.
writing pyramid.
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
Is that like working with a
But
skeletal version outline of a book, or like?
maybe. I'm not sure. Let's wait for Lorenzo to let us know what it
Right.
is. But I also remember when we were on the summit and you were talking about your goals,
Right.
because that was super inspiring. Like you
Thank you.
wrote this book in 35 days.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Here's Lorenzo. Intro, rising action, climax, falling action, outro. Okay.
I just write.
No, you just go. You
I
just go.
I guess you could say I'm like, I don't want to compare myself to Biggie or like Tupac or like Jay-Z, because that's just too big a shoe to fill. But like they just feel, they go a cappella, you know. I mean, not they one take. They feel the
Freestyle.
music,
Yeah,
take 5 minutes, and they have a song, and that
yeah,
song just blows you away. So
yeah.
I think what I'm grateful for is that I think that one of my gifts, one of my talents is I'm able to understand the natural flow, the ebb and the flow. I don't know if that makes sense. The natural flow of a story, in that I know what the problem is, and I know like and I get to find out how the problem is solved. But I never try to figure out the story before it's solved, because it's like trying to understand a movie without. It's like trying to tell and describe a movie without finishing the movie, and you end up ruining the movie because you're distracted in your thought rather than just letting the movie just play before you.
Mm,
And that for me, something that I'm grateful for, because one of the things that I'm grateful for in addition to that is I didn't go to school specifically to learn how to write a novel, and I'm grateful for that because it has enabled me to figure out my own unique voice. And I'm not against going to school, and I'm likely going to have some kind of professional um, a class or something. But I'm grateful because it forced me to craft my own way and not stick with a tried and true way. I didn't want my book to
mhm,
start to fall into the same cookie cutter approach of what a book should be. I wanted to do it my way. And that's the same with me when I cook food. That's the same with me when I market my book, and I guess it could be like reinventing the wheel, but I'm taking the the spokes from an old BMX on the street and then putting it to my own bike. But anyways, and yeah,
wow. That's amazing. You're just like a freestyle, free flow writer.
thank you.
Cool.
What was your question? You
So
asked
yeah,
me a different question.
it was yeah, because I remember on the summit you were talking about your goals, like
Right.
how you can just say to yourself, you're gonna write this book in 35 days.
Right.
Like, how do you broke it down for us. I want you to break it down, please, and let us know,
Sure.
like, how do you do it?
The way I was able to write my book in 30 days, the first time I wrote my first book, when I wrote my first book, it took a year because I didn't set a deadline. And a task will take however long you permit it to take. And I think it was in the 4-hour work week. Tim Ferriss referred to this. He was like, if you want to finish something, set an unrealistic deadline. And I realized, whoa, that actually explained how I was able to finish my second book in 30 days. So when I wrote my second book in 30 days, I'll just show it to you. So uh, when I was writing my book in 30 days, this was the book. Tunde, I might have lost ambition. One of the rare exceptions where I have the title before the book was done. And this was my notes when I was writing the book. March 22nd, 2013 was when I started, and I finished. Um, where's the date here? Oh, yeah, so I finished um, by April 12th, 2013. My goal was to finish my book before my birthday. And like on my birthday or before my birthday. And I was able to finish it, you know, on that day. And the goal was to buy myself these headphones, Soul Republic headphones. I really wanted to get it. I love music, and I was stuck with a terrible headphones. So that was like great motivation for me. It encouraged me to just keep going. So I would always have that picture of the headphones in front of me as I wrote my book. And yeah, so it enabled me the opportunity to really focus and finish it. And the reason why I wanted to share that headphones idea with you is this. I had a reason why I needed to finish it. I had an incentive. You know, even though the incentive was much bigger than the headphones, that definite incentive for that moment at that time, immediate incentive was the headphones. And oh my God, it was just beautiful. I really wanted to experience the sound. So that living through that encouraged me to just sit down, forget about parties, because I was living at York University Village. Student life, everybody is having a good time. So I had to like forget about all of that stuff and just sit at the dining table when I was living in the village. My friend, my roommate would leave for class all day or come back and meet me where he left me because I was writing my book. And that's how I was able to finish it. And I want to share this idea, you know, as to demonstrate how possible it is to write a book. Like, for example, for those who want to write a book, for example, in 30 days or 6 months or whatever, or 3 months, whatever you want to as a goal, buy yourself something you really like. And I'm not talking about, you know, a plush doll or like, you know, something small, but like buy yourself something really nice. I'm talking about something you don't want to give up. Wrap it up, right? In a bold, nice present, make it fantastic, pink, pink, you know, make it nice, and then just put it into the hands of a friend or family member that you trust, and just be like, listen, this is my goal. If I don't accomplish what I've said I'm going to accomplish, you get to keep whatever is in that box. And you can be daring and tell them this is what's in the box. It could be an iPhone, or heck, if you're gonna be crazy, it could be like uh, I don't know, something, whatever. And just be like, if I don't accomplish that goal, that's yours. Now you have a reason not to not finish. It's like when you have a last minute essay. I was giving that example at this summit. When you have a last minute essay, I'm the king of last minute essays. You know, it's like if you have 40% of your grade on the line, you do it. You just become superhuman. You're like, whoa, how did I accomplish my essay in 4 hours and I got an A plus? So it's like,
Right.
it's the same thing. When you have something to lose, everything becomes possible. And that's how I was able to write my book in 30 days. And the third book, I really didn't have an incentive. I wanted to get myself a watch, but whatever. I just really wanted to finish it for the love of it because I promised fans that I would write a third book, and I was curious to see what that third book was going to be myself. So it was just pure love. I wanted to do it, and it ended up being the longest book, craziest book, and I think my best book. I'm really happy with it. You know, I humbly say that, and yeah, it challenged me so. It gave me so many sleepless night because, for example, I would be like, oh my god, how much is the editor going to send me for a bill this time? Because my editor is very like, you know, I could have hired an editor, but I wanted to work with this one editor, and I've been working with the same one for like 10 years now. Andrea Lemure, she's really good at what she does. She challenges me like crazy. And then sometime when I go to bed, I'm like, oh my god, how much is she gonna send me at the end of the month? I'm so scared. So I became a workaholic just to make sure I had
Yeah.
the money ready. And so it really, so yeah, and that's been the story of getting a book together and writing it. And yeah.
My goodness. Well, like everybody's shocked. Like, it is definitely
Stacy said the
like,
same thing. I'm sorry, I
yeah,
could not communicate what I was trying to say, so Pim Pim did it. Sorry, I can't help it.
yeah.
Sorry.
My
It's
gosh,
the
man.
African in me.
This amazing, amazing. So anybody could read these books. You're talking about a 10-year-old giving you a review.
Right,
These books are for anybody.
absolutely. And it's something that it's so easy to read because, like I was talking about, the mirroring effect. You know, I think that people relate to Struggles of a Dreamer because Struggles of a Dreamer is what you need a Struggles of a Dreamer to be. It's not a book that
Mm,
is just um um am I saying like it's not a book that is perfect. There's so many ways in which the book can be improved. You know, as per my activities this year, the book has been completely, well, not completely, but revised and everything else. But it's a book that is what people are at that moment in time, where they are. It offers that reflection mirror. And it's something that does that authentically because it gives people the emotion that comes around with taking a chance on a dream. Like the character, for example, is stuck in a place um, where he's given a choice. Like when he has, imagine his father has been training him for years, grooming him to become a farmer to take over the family farm. And then this kid has this recurring dream, and then one day wakes up, he's like, I have to tell my father that I can't take over the farm. And at the same time, the father announces that the son is going to take over the farm. So imagine that struggle, that terror barrier. How do I tell my dad? And he tells his mom, oh, I don't want to ruin it, but like he tells his mom, and then the mom is like, she tells a story about how she didn't go for her dream. She's like, don't waste it. And then from that, he tapped into that courage, ran with it, told his dad. The dad blew up on him. He's like, stay and be safe, or leave and lose everything. And that's like that moment in life where we have to take a chance or we stay. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with that in one form or the other. You know, people struggle with that because there's always that terror barrier. You always are required to take a leap, whether in love, whether in career, whether in health. You know, some people want to become vegan. You have to give up steak. Sorry. Or like, you know, if you want to be in a relationship, you have to like be okay with the fact that your parents may not like the person you're dating, you know, but
right.
are you going to be happy with that person? You don't know, but you also don't know if you don't try. Because at the end of the day, everybody dies alone, everybody gets buried alone. You got to carry your cross. And I think that's why Struggles of a Dreamer is important because it inspires people to say, you know what? I believe I can carry my cross. You know, it's not a book that will get you from point A to Z, but it's a book that will get you started. You know, it will get you started. And that's why, and that's what I mean when I say inspiration. Because there are there's so many individuals out there who, you know, who help dreamers reach their goal. I'm just that nudge along the path that says, this is my contribution to your dream. Take that chance. That's all I'm giving. Take that chance. And that's what I aim to do in everything that I do in my life. And that's why it has become my mission statement to inspire 100 million people with the courage to take chance on themselves to do what they are afraid to do today, that they may avoid, so that they may have peace of mind tomorrow and they may be at peace with themselves and not worry about regret.
Huge, huge. But we have a couple of questions from the audience.
All right.
Stacy was asking, how do you stay so disciplined? Like, how? How do you do it, Yahaya?
Honestly, it's hard, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like I may seem like I may speak so confidently and like I know everything I'm talking about. Some days I'm like, I just don't want to do anything. And today, I'm not gonna lie to you, was one of those days. You know? Like, and I'll show you this very quickly. Like this are some of my samples that I received. Um, I showed you I'm working on a project right now. This is my first book, the first edition, and this is the first book, sample edition. I'm working on a project where, you know, I like to give people the opportunity to test drive my book. I never want a person to buy my book until they have read the first 25 pages for free and see if it's for them. I don't want you to, you know, I guess waste your money on something you're not interested in. And so something like that. I'm supposed to be working on this project today, but quite frankly, I just could not get myself to do it. I just could not do it. you know? So I laid on the couch and I slept because I just couldn't do it. You know, just going through some stuff, just working out some personal stuff and whatnot. And I'm working at the discipline. It's hard, but I'm able to stay so disciplined when I'm clear on my goal and what I'm trying to achieve. But it's like a roller coaster. But that roller coaster is like a profitable company that in the when you look at the stock, Lorenzo, shout out to you. But like when you look at the stock in like a day, it's just so volatile, it's going up and down. But when you look at it over 5 days, it's still going up and down. But when you look at it over 6 months, and we look at it over a year, and we look at it over 5 years, now there's still a lot of up and down, but there's the upward trend in that.
Right.
So that's kind of what my discipline is like. I am disciplined, but I'm disciplined enough. And what I'm starting to learn is to allow myself days when I'm just not disciplined, and be okay with that. It's hard.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's hard. Some days
Yep.
you just don't feel like it, and you feel guilty for not doing work. But yeah, it's just what it is.
Then there's days when you're smashing out pages and pages on your book.
No, man.
So
Yeah.
balance is the boat, man.
Yep. Yep.
Jeez. And Lorenzo had a question too. How has writing these books changed you?
It's made me more humble. And it's taught me to understand people more, but more importantly, it's taught me to understand myself. And I was saying how I went to chapters and I was selling my book. For example, what that means is I go to chapters, set up a book signing. Well, I set up this book signing, then go to chapters. And I just stand there for like 8 to 10 hours, sometimes 12 hours, and just talk to people. People walking by, you're like, may I tell you about my book? And that's the only question I ask all day long. May I tell you about my book? No? Fantastic. May I tell you about my book? Great. No problem. All I'm looking for is the yeses. And all I focus on is getting the yeses. At the beginning, when I started going door to door, when people tell me no, I was always, man, maybe I'm not good enough. But then it became, I'm not good enough to, they're not the right people. I'm not the right person for them either. And having gone door to door and now and having had the opportunity to sell my book in chapters for over 8 years and having spoken to over 300,000 plus people and hand sold over 40 close to 48,000 copies of my book, each and every one, well, 99%. I've met each and every person that's bought my book, and it's changed me. It's made me more humble. It's made me more understanding of people, and it's made me less judgmental. I'm human. I will always judge. It is what it is, unfortunately, but I am less judgmental, significantly less judgmental, because I see people as just people until they've decided to tell me who they are behind that person. And when it comes to selling a book, it's so important to do that. And I'm selling anything for that matter, or meeting anybody or having any conversation. Because if you look at a person and be like, that person looks like he's going to buy my book. I found out a lot of people who look like they're going to buy your book don't buy anything. They leave you negative, some of them people. But sometimes it's true, those people end up buying your book. But I never judge. I always tell people, I will tell the King of England, the Queen of England, as good as the best I can what my book is about, as I would tell a 9-year-old. I don't distinguish people. I don't say, oh, you're important, let me tell you this way, you're important. No, I tell everybody the same. I bring myself to that. And sorry, this is another insider. Sorry, I gotta give you hey, remember Ellie, you asked, so I'm gonna give you the details. So when I do book signing events, I have a ton of these things. You know, if anybody ever tells me, oh, you lying, you didn't do like over 1,000 book signings, I'm like, yes, I did. For example, this is a book signing I did at Young and Eglinton, and I started at 2:10 that day. This was October 12th, 2017. It wasn't really my best day, but anyways, I started with like 63 copies of my book, and this are the number of people I spoke with. I tallied the number of people up, and as you can see over the course of the years, August 21st, 2019, tally of number of people I spoke with, and this is Kennedy chapters. This was Peterborough, Markham chapters, Ajax, Milton. So like I oh boy, I forget what I was going with this. Like I just I just make notes. Oh yeah, I remember now. I wanted to show you, for example, my mission statement. Every time before I go to do a book signing, I always write a mission statement. For example, I always say, I promise to give my very best to each and every person I speak with, no matter what happens. And yeah, I sold all my copies of my novels today. And the first person, so I always mark like the first person bought my book, second person I spoke to bought my book, third person, fourth, and then the fourth person. And the fourth person, sorry, bought one and two. So I always make it's like little things like that. It's historical. It allows me to appreciate where I came from. And now that I actually look back on this, I started making these notes back in 2013. You know, at the time I used to just tally on my hand and it was so unprofessional. I would like when people walk away, I just tally. People look at me like, what is that boy doing? What's wrong with you? And then just one lady make fun of me. She's like, what are you doing? And then so I started to write it on paper. But so like little things like that, it really taught me to understand that people are just people. And with the mindset of giving my best to each and every person I speak with, no matter what happens, it removes that judgment. And so when I tell a 5-year-old about my book, 5-year-old will just come up to me and be like, oh, what are you doing? I just bend down to the ground, to their level, and just tell them about my book. Believe it or not, 10 to 15 minutes later, they dragging their parents to me and be like, Mom, buy this book. That's it. And parents buy the book. Like, it's just so crazy. And there was a time, for example, I was doing a book signing in Kitchener. This young musician came up to me, mixed guy, Chinese, Canadian. He came up to me and he was telling me about his dream to be a musician, you know, play YouTube videos and whatnot. And he reminds me of Shawn Mendes. And so I was like, I was so inspired by him. And then he couldn't buy my book. So I'm like, and I was moved by spirit in me to just sign a book for him, sign book 1 and 2 for him. Struggles of a Dreamer 1 and 2 to sign it for him. And I went and found them. I put it in a bag for him and I said, excuse me, here you go. Enjoy the book. And I just walked away. 2, 3 days later, his mom has read the book and then she ordered I think she ordered like 20 copies. Just like that. So it's taught me being judgment free makes a big difference. And that's one thing that I say it's made me more humble because when you let people surprise you, the surprises tend to be very good. You know, and to not expect the worst. And unfortunately, it's just human to expect the worst sometimes because it's survival. But like sometimes it's just when you give people a chance, they tend to prove you wrong. And that's what I found.
Jeez, man. My gosh, you definitely. Yep, my mind is blown too. I'm just here like, gosh. Um, but Lorenzo had another question.
Sure.
How do you handle your downs?
I pray. I pray a lot. I definitely pray a lot. And this is my vision board. I just stare at it, honestly. I just stare. I love cars. And my parents, my fiance, my siblings. Um, I just, I, I pray a lot. And I just remind myself not to be so down. It's hard,
Yeah.
especially when you're down. You don't realize that you're down because you're down. But like it's really hard sometimes. But I just I just pray, man. It's hard. So I just pray about it more than anything. And I just let myself be down because sometimes you just have to be in the moment, and sometimes in that moment is where you is actually where you need to be, because when you're down, not all that bad. It just means you need time to recalibrate. You just lay down like today. I just could not do any work. So I just slept. I lay down and I slept. I'm like, and I set the alarm for 7:30 just to make sure I'm up for this. But because I leave me like, Yahaya, where you at, buddy? What's wrong with you? Don't make me come break down your door, Baba. What's wrong with you? But like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, I just pray a lot, and I'm still trying to figure it out. And I know I will have more down days. It's just how it is, and that's just what it is. It's just life. But a
Yeah.
movie, there's like no movie can exist without a bad guy or a bad girl. So being down is just a bad guy, bad girl that makes your awesome movie possible. So embrace it.
Yep, yep. You got to embrace the highs and the lows, right? But I think
Oh,
Stacy had another
Stacy.
question. It was, where was it?
Oh, who is his
Um,
mentor? Is
yes.
that what?
Who's your biggest mentor? Yeah.
Uh, my biggest mentor, man, that's a hard question. I look up to a lot of people from a lot of different places, a lot of different walks in life, man. Honestly, like I'll give you an example. Uh, this is somebody like this is a card that somebody gave me randomly. I was doing a book signing at Burlington. She just walked up to me and just gave me this card. You matter. I'm like, bro, that's fantastic. Somebody like that is my mentor because they just lifted me up. And this is a person, her name is Willa. She's a, I think, 70-year-old Canadian lady. She just came up to me. I was having a down day. She just showed up and started telling me the story of her life, how things work out for her without her having to stress about it. It just happened. And it was something that I needed to hear. So my I don't really have, to be honest, and sorry, Stacy, I don't have, so to speak, a men like a particular person that I look to for mentorship. I I learn as much as I can from every single thing and every single one. Like for example, when I take a walk, I pay attention to my surrounding. I see how people drive. There's a lot to be learned from that. I see how somebody stops on the red light or at the stop sign and let somebody else cross. But that person is so far away, but they stopped anyway. They didn't need to stop, but they stopped. That's a lesson. That's mentorship for me. And so my mentorship is not limited to the area in which I'm studying or I'm interested in. My mentorship is everywhere. It's kind of like King Solomon in the Bible, how he was commenting about the ant. Look at the ant, how she labors, how she works hard. It's like mentorship exists in the tiniest thing. If you pay attention
Yeah.
to what is around you, you will see, be like this plant, for example, ponytail. My fiance calls it ponytail. It's the
For
reason
real.
why we got this plant is because it's so resilient. You can water it once a month and just let it be. And it's low maintenance. It doesn't need anything crazy, and it just bees. And I recently planted uh, beans in this glass right here. I don't know why it's not growing, but I planted it anyways. And I planted it, and I put it on the mirror, like in my washroom, and I was looking at it one day, and it reminded me of a quote that somebody said: "For something to grow, it first has to be buried." It has to
Yeah.
be buried. It has to be in the dark for it to
In the
grow.
dark.
And that for me, this plant in a way is mentorship because it's teaching me patience, you know? I sound like the weird guy with the empty glass of soil and calling mentors, but like, it's like I think there's lesson to be had in everything, and my mentorship is not limited to anything. But people that I look up to, oh, this is the longest answer in the world. Jeez. People that I look up to is Warren Buffett, my mom, Ellie, 416 Love, my
What?
fiance, um, my siblings. You know, it's like, and you're surprised, but I don't think you should be surprised because, for example, your dedication. If you remember when we first started talking, I asked you a question, like, what's in it for you? Like, there got to be something in it for you to be putting so much work. You're like, I just want to do it. I'm like, I respect that. That's fantastic. That's the kind of person I want to be. That is mentorship, and that's something I respect. And so what I mean is, I look at people doing things in life, not doing things in life in one form or the other, because you don't know what people are up to. But you got to respect each and every person, because just because people don't show you anything doesn't mean there's nothing. Just because you don't see anything in this thing doesn't mean there's nothing happening. So it's like, I seek the opportunity to learn from people, and whether they want to teach me or not, I learn anyways. I watch them and I be like, oh, that's what you're teaching me. But I was gonna learn. Like, there was this gentleman, I asked him once, I always ask, I have a weird habit of asking people this question, kids, anybody. I would say, if you can give me one advice from anything from your experience in life, what would it be? And this guy looked at me and was like, sorry, I'm not gonna share. I'm like, what? This is weird. And I'm like, thank you for answering my question anyways. To say no when you don't want to say yes. That's a lesson. I could have easily taken it. I was taken aback, I'm not going to lie. But it also taught me a lesson. Say no when you don't feel like saying yes. So.
Yeah. 100%. But thank you. I appreciate that. That makes me feel real nice, I definitely we all can learn from each other, and that's the purpose of this is what 416 Love is anyways. It's all learning from each other,
Right.
sharing stories, because just like you're coming on here, you're inspiring us to listen to your story, to go out there and want to buy your book, but at the same time, the story behind what you're doing out here is an inspiration in itself.
Thank you.
So everybody's story matters. And I feel like just listening to the journey, how people go on and talk about their experiences in life and what leads them to do different things is just amazing. So yeah, you are amazing. You're amazing. Your story's amazing. And I know these books, especially, the Ellie book is gonna be off the chain. Off the chain. So I'm definitely excited to read these books. So you mentioned you have 25 free pages of your first book. Talk to us about where we can order the book, how we can get a copy of the book, and then where we could read those 25 pages.
All right. It's really, really simple. I'll type it out. It's Struggles of a Dreamer.com. Yeah. Struggles of a Dreamer.com. When you go on the website, it's my online bookstore. I have a thing now that I want to sell directly to my fans. Just my business model. I want to build around that and just go directly to my fans, because it's unnecessary to have so many people's hands in your pocket. Sorry, there's a crazy business side of me talking. But like, strugglesofadreamer.com, you can actually get the first 25 pages. And the reason why, the book is the first edition of the book, which is currently available, the one that's currently available, there's only 700 copies of that left. After that, I will no longer print that. We're going to be moving from this edition to this edition. And so it'll be different. But so yeah, the first edition of the book, the first 25 pages, is about 203 pages long. I wanted to give the quarter of the book away, because 5 pages won't do, 10 pages won't do, 15 pages won't do. I want people to get into the nitty gritty of the story. And this is not including the preface or anything like that. Excuse me. I want people to start reading the book. And if it's for you, fantastic. You already started reading it, buy it. And if it's not for you, fantastic. You have a free shelf space for you to buy another book that is for you, or whatever it is you want to. And yeah, so I like to give you the opportunity to read it for free and see if it's for them. And there's absolutely no pressure whatsoever. Strugglesofadreamer.com. You'll see, start reading the book for free. Enter your email. It'll show up in your mailbox. And, I get to keep in touch with you via my emailing thing. I'm still figuring that out. But yeah, so you get to actually know my story a bit more over a series of emails that come into your inbox. And then after that, I stop emailing you, and then it's up to you to buy the book. And if it's not for you, you go your way, I go mine. But at least you got something out of it. Struggles of a Dreamer. Even if it means you contemplated the story, the title, I've added some sort of value to you. And that for me is fantastic. Because at the end of the day, just as nature caters to every single aspect of the forest, I know that, figure it out. Your book is going to be fine. My book is going to be fine. And each and every person who has a dream is going to be fine. Because, not every single person is going to be interested in what you're doing, but there will also be a lot of people who are interested in what you're doing. So gravitate towards those who are interested and let everybody else follow through. And that's my mentality with this.
Awesome. Awesome. So we definitely have to head over to strugglesofadreamer.com. And then how do we get Tunde?
Tunde is also available on the website. So
Okay.
strugglesofadreamer.com is an umbrella for the entire book series. And Tunde, right now, Tunde is currently sold out because we are still, so we're going, let me just, whoops, sorry, ooh, don't drop books. Anyways, so basically I'm going from this, Tunde,
Okay.
to that. So I have gone ahead and revised the second book as well. So
Okay.
we're still finalizing that. So right now, Struggles of a Dreamer is available. You can also you can get that shipped out right away. If you order that, it'll be shipped out to you right away. But again, that's the second edition. So you'll be getting the first edition of the book as well.
Okay.
And Ellie is available for pre-order. So you can actually get started with the first book. Second book will be available. You can pre-order, as is the second, as is the third book as well. But again, if you've read Struggles of a Dreamer, I don't want to complicate this too much, but if you've read Struggles of a Dreamer and you want to read Tunde, you can actually get the first 25 pages of Tunde at, I'll text it, I'll post it right now, at Tunde, my-tunde.com. And you'll get the first
Okay.
25 pages there. And if you've read Tunde and you want to continue with the third book, you can get the first 50 pages of The Adventures of Ellie. So the book of Ellie.com.
Wow,
So
I have my own website, Young.
yeah,
That
right?
book. Okay.
I know, right? That's me. I inspired him, and I don't care if he says that's true or not. But nah. But yeah, the book of Ellie.com. And the reason why I'm giving 50 pages away is the third book. I'll just show you. The third book is 526 pages long. So it gives people the opportunity to really get to see the book in its entirety and, in more detail before they purchase it. And of course, it's
And
available
also
on the e-readers as well. So if you want to get it on your app right now, you can do that too. But I'm talking about Struggles of a Dreamer. You can get that there.
okay. And then so is that it for the series? Like, are you just doing these three, or is there another book to come?
I don't know.
You don't know yet.
I don't
Okay.
know. Honestly, I'm in a weird space. I was talking about how I want to make a movie. I really
Yes.
feel called to make a movie for Struggles of a
Yeah.
Dreamer trilogy. And a lot of people ask me, yo, is this going to become a movie? Especially those who read the book. They come, for example, like when I'm doing a book signing, they walk up to me and be like, I read your book and I thought it'll make a fantastic movie. So I think you should make a movie. So I'm like, oh, okay, great. I don't know how to do that,
Mm.
but I really want to do that. So if I wanna, when I'm ready to make the movie, there's this young lady that I was very fortunate that she helped me to write my first script for Struggles of a Dreamer. But at the time, I had Struggles of a Dreamer only. So I haven't really followed up on that or been in touch about that with her. And, if you're listening to this, I am sorry. We will definitely continue to work on it. But I really do want to, I want to continue working with her to make that movie a reality because they say work with people who are smarter than you and more talented than you. And just as I've created the first book, I didn't do it myself. I had a bunch of people. Yahaya Films. Nice one, Stacey. I like it. Thank you.
Yes, you're right.
But I had editors, designers, layout, people do what they did best to make the book happen. I just wrote the story, but they made it shine. So it was their credit, not mine. So I would want to do that. But one thing I really do want to do is I want to start my own movie company, kind of like TPS, Tyler Perry Studios. But I don't want to fully go into the movie business. I want to start my own movie company to make my own movie for the books. Whatever happens there, I don't know. But I would want to partner with a movie company. So I want to spearhead it where it is a Tapestry House movie company film, but in association, let's say with Tyler Perry Studios or Warner Brothers or whoever. And I don't care where these people are from, as long as they can help us reach that vision. I don't care if you're white, black,
Yep,
purple, Chinese. I don't care, as long as you know what the vision is and you care about it just as much. Like my editor is French Canadian, but she gets my book. She
yep,
understands it, you know, and I believe that talent can come from anywhere, and
yes,
I don't want to I don't want to fall into the trap of, just saying this is a pool that I'm looking at. I'm not gonna look anywhere else. You don't know where it's gonna come from. So that's
right.
one thing. That's a vision that I have. But by the grace of God, we will make a movie. Funny thing is, I set a goal to make a movie on to uh, I'm just gonna believe it's possible. 2022, March 17, which is my fiance's birthday, and I found this ticket stub from a long time ago. I kept it, but I realized that it actually coincided with it, which basically, when read
Wow.
inappropriately, is 2017, March 22nd, and when read as the
Yes.
year 2022, March 17, I was like, oh, maybe this is a sign. I don't know. So I just kept this. I've had this for 3 years. So I just kept it. I found it on the floor at Young and Eglinton when I was doing a book signing. So I crossed out, Beauty and the Beast and put Struggles of a Dreamer. That's it. So I don't know. Anything is possible. Anything is
It
possible. I
is.
mean, Elon Musk made $100 billion this year, so I could make a movie. Let's do it.
That's right. You're going to do it. I mean,
By the
that is
grace of God.
confirmation
By the
right
grace of
there. So, and I seen a comment by Michelle a bit earlier, and she was mentioning that you are super inspiring, and you are. But what we didn't touch on was your self-publishing,
God. Right.
because you have a publishing company, but give us a little bit of information on that publishing company as well for your book.
So in terms of Tapestry House Publishing, I wanted to start that because I wanted to maintain independence for my book. I wanted to create the freedom to be able to market my book in a way that I saw fit, but in a way that would let my own self shine through. And there has been um, some pros and the cons. The cons, of course, I've had to learn to do what I needed to do. But at the same time, the pros has been the freedom to be able to do it in the way that I needed to do it naturally. So, um, my intention when I started was to publish my own books, write, produce, and market my own books. And I did not intend to publish other authors' books, but what I am doing is I love having conversation with authors, you know, to help them get started that in the way that self-publishing is concerned, because self-publishing world, there is a lot of there are it's very freeing, but there are a lot of pitfalls that authors can fall into at times, especially when authors rush through the process. And that's one thing I've found from experience. You know, most important thing is to take the time to do your book right, so that your book is a great quality and authentic ambassador, for your brand in the eyes of the reader, and in their hands as well, in the hands of the reader. So that's something I really enjoy doing. You know, like I really enjoy speaking with authors and whatnot. And this year, I started the self-publishing author Instagram, where I had intended to teach a course, or it's like a consulting type business, to teach people how to sell their books in chapters and whatnot. And then that's something I've always wanted to do, because a lot of people request it, and chapters, even Indigo chapters, ask it a lot. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it. But then what I've realized this year was, and as I was saying on the summit, I've gotten to where I am because I was focused. And I feel like I don't want to lose that now by starting to focus on other things. So, and when I say focus, I don't want to start chasing two chickens. You know, I want to focus on that one chicken that I'm chasing. I don't know. I guess I like chicken here, but you know, it's like I want to just focus on that one thing. My focus, it really is Tapestry House Publishing. I write, produce, and market my own books, and you know, when an opportunity comes to share with an author what I've learned, I'm happy to do that. And it's really not my intention at this moment to make a business out of it, because if I want to do it, I want to do it extremely well. And it's unfair for authors if I am in one foot and out the other. You know, it's just not fair, and it's a lack of integrity that I can't put up with, like respectfully. So I do it when the opportunity comes. But yeah, I've created. Thank you, I appreciate that. But I created, you know, an article. I wrote an article. It's on my website, strugglesofthedreamer.com. How to sell your book in chapters. It gives you all the details, and of course, it's only so much I could write by hand on. I mean, I can write in an article, but the article is very long. So I created a step-by-step how to sell your books in chapters. Exact same template I used to sell my book, over 47,000 copies of my book, you know, door to door and also in chapters. Exact same thing. So you can go ahead and use it. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
And where do we get that on your website?
Yeah, it's all on strugglesofthedreamer.com. You'll see it. It's one of the headings, how to sell your book in chapters.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Lorenzo has a question too.
Sure.
So does boom publishing work or book publishing work the same as music publishing?
Uh, quite frankly, I'm not very familiar with the music business. I'm not very familiar with it, but I guess I could speculate in a way that, um, excuse me, ownership comes, ownership, control, marketing works into play. Author, if you want to go with a traditional publishing, then you work with an agent, and publishers will almost always talk to you uh, only through an agent. So you get a literary agent, and that agent helps you to establish a relationship with an agent, and that agent allows you the opportunity to have that flow between um, the commercial aspect, creative aspect, and so on, and the publisher and so on. So you get everything together through that agent, and the agent can often find authors and get them to get signed, and publishers give authors, a new author, an advance, you know, ranging, I think, 3,000 and upwards, depending who you are, who they think you are rather. And how much money they think you can bring in terms of book sale. But at the end of the day, I can definitely say that it's very much like the music business because it all boils down to the numbers. Is this person sellable? You know, can their book sell? That's it. They got to pay their bills. They got shareholders equities to report, shareholder equity to improve, people to report to, bank accounts to fill and empty, I guess. And and that's partly one reason why I wanted to just strike out on my own, because the more people you have to work with, the more hands you have in your pocket, and the smaller the pie you get to have, and the smaller the impact you get to make, in my humble opinion. Because it's like OVO Records. I don't know all of the details, but I'm gonna speculate. Sorry, my brother Drake. I'm gonna speculate and be like, I'm sure Drake didn't necessarily just sign all of the rights, to Cash Money Records and be like, yo, where I'm signing on to you, you own everything I do. No, I'm sure OVO Record existed long before that. He went on tour by himself, you know, um, uh, mixtape legend, underground king, drop a mixtape and that sounded like an album. Everybody had a deal. I did it without one. I can't rap, but
Yeah.
that's all I got. So it's like, little things like that. He started his own thing. And when you own when you own the thing that you're doing, you get to control the flow of it. Obviously, all things considered, customers are buying, marketing, everything working, but like you get to control it. You decide who's in your pocket, whose hand is in your pocket, and whose hand is not. When you have a literary agent in your pocket, they're going to get paid from your book sales or from whatever you get. If you get an award, they're getting a cut. A publisher's getting a cut, and you get whatever's left. All that because you got that award because of their effort and your effort as well, but it's mainly because of their effort because they put the money to pay for your book. My book cost $12,000 to edit. If a publisher paid for that, what they decide goes in the book is up to them. But I paid for that. And my career is on the line by trusting that what I'm putting in the book is actually going to make sense for the reader. So it's taking a risk. So whoever's willing to take that risk will deserves the reward. And it's only fair for the publisher and the author, whatever the split, a percentage of revenue is. That's why authors get paid 10% or 20% of book sales, while publisher, whatever, take whatever is left. I mean, whatever they get first, and then the author gets 20 to 30%. Because risk cost analysis, risk benefit, you take the most risk, you tend to get the most reward. It just works that way. And, I think like, for authors who thinks that's unfair, yes, it is unfair because it's your work. So if you don't think it's fair, make it fair by putting yourself in a circumstance that work better for you. Because at the end of the day, that's just how the publishing works. The traditional publishing world works. And I'm sure there's a lot that I haven't covered that I don't know. And forgive me if I've said something that I'm not very knowledgeable on. But from my understanding, from speaking with other authors and from my own experience, that's just how it is. And yeah, you pay the price. If you're willing to take the risk, you get the rewards. Simple.
Yep.
He
No
who
risk, no
ventures
reward.
wins. Sorry.
100%. I mean, geez. Oh my gosh, you're just dropping them gems on us. Just dropping so much
Oh,
information
thank you.
for us out here. But yeah, big up yourself on that self-publishing.
Thank you.
That's huge. Very, very big. And then of course we can't wait to see this movie in your, production company coming out, doing
Thank
all
you.
that.
Thank
And
you.
it's true. This is why artists, sorry, go independent. This is why a lot of people decide to do things independently
Right.
because um, you put in that work, and you're more happy and satisfied with the reward as well, because look at how driven you are to tell us your story. It's way more inspiring when you hear all the grit, all the hard work, all of the effort that you put in to make it happen. So
Thank you.
big up yourself is right, 100%. Um, I just want to thank you, Yahaya, for coming on, for sharing your story with us, for, opening up, sharing your workspace with us,
Thank you.
all of these inspiring different things that you're talking to us about. If you were listening to anything that this man had to say, you definitely are going to probably go to the drawing board and be like, okay, where are my next goals? Like, I need to put a deadline on this, and I need to put a crazy deadline on it and make it happen, because you're out here writing books in 35 days. We definitely can look at our goals and try to figure out how we can achieve,
Thank you.
you know?
Hey, I'm gonna
But
steal
before
the
I
spotlight, for example, for a second. So here's what we're gonna
okay.
do. I'm gonna become the host, and you're gonna become the interviewee.
Oh my God.
Ellie, tell us about your book.
Oh
Seriously,
gosh.
tell us about your book.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, um, my book is basically, it's called Figure It Out.
Nice.
That's the name of my book. And my book is just basically about, different things. When I wanted to make a change in my life, I decided to write this book. And I wrote the book. And it's just different gems, different tips that I use to help myself, to push myself to change my life. And basically, it is what it is. If you want to change your life, you want to change what's happening around you, I believe that you just basically have to look at yourself and then change yourself, because everything starts from within. So you got to change your mindset, you got to change the way you think, you got to change yourself. So that's what I did. And I think everything is figure outable in life.
Wow.
You can figure anything out. You're in any situation, it doesn't matter where you are, you can figure it out. So this was just, my author name is Alicia Ricketts. That's my real full name.
Okay.
But since I was a baby, they call me Ellie. So
Nice.
I've been Ellie forever. Anybody that knows me from back in the day knows me as Miss Ellie. Actually, that's what they used to call me when I was a kid.
That's awesome.
And so that just stuck with me. Yeah, so figure it out that's basically what it is.
That's
Just figuring out life, and nothing is done. I call it like life work. We're always putting in that work. Like you said, some days you're up, some days you're down, but
right.
at the end of the day, you just got to keep it moving and you can't stay stuck. You know what I mean? Got to
I
keep
agree.
going.
I think it should
That's
become
it.
like one of those like speakers. It should give like a massive TED talk, or like with 50,000 people in a room, and then you just walk in, ladies and gentlemen, Ellie's in the house. Just walk in and you do the little fix your coat a little bit, and you have the little projector thing. And you got be like, bam. You get, So sorry, I'm just saying that's basically what came to mind when you were telling me
Speak it
about your book.
into an
Yeah.
existence. Yes, speak it into
So
existence.
yeah, and I really agree with you. Quite frankly, everything is figure outable, and I'm really looking forward to your book. It's in the mail. I'm sure it'll arrive. I'm guessing it'll arrive either tomorrow probably today or tomorrow. I have to go downstairs and check. But
Yeah.
really excited about it, and like again, I really am grateful for your generosity, your in time, effort. It takes a lot. Like you have kids, family and whatnot. To like dedicate 8+ hours. I'm sure many more hours behind the scenes, but like 8+ hours on Zoom, just letting people talk about themselves lit for hours. And I'm like, man, you and Esther bomb.com work. Fantastic. So
Thank
give
you.
you guys a shout out for that. And that's why, I say, you're a mentor to me, because that's a quality I definitely want to, continue to take on for myself. Patience, dedication, giving first, always giving. And I respect that. And I wish you the best of success and whatever it is you do, and just keep on doing you. I think everything will come to pass.
Thank you.
Yo,
I appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you coming on to the summit as well, and sharing your information because you're awesome. You know what I mean? You're awesome. You're
hey,
inspiring. You're motivational.
I
And
give God all the glory.
every single person that shared with us definitely was inspirational. And we do have to give God the glory.
I agree.
That's all it is
Yep.
because He's bestowed all these gifts upon each and every one of us, and we're sharing them with the masses, but at the end of the day, he has blessed us with the gifts. So, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Got to give him the thanks.
I agree.
But with that being said, I'm going to wrap this up. But
All right.
first, I want to let you have the last word. And I want to ask you if you have like any kind of motivational quote or anything that you kind of go by that you want to inspire the masses with.
Hmm. All right. I'm gonna share you guys my calendar. I'm gonna. Oh my god! I can't believe I'm doing this. Um, I'm. I would take like 1 minute. Okay. So at the beginning of the year, I was frustrated. I decided on December 2019 was going to be my last book signing. I'll do book signing in the future with chapters going forward, but I want to do my own thing. I don't want to work through Indigo anymore. And December, January came. I didn't know what the heck I was trying to do. And then my calendar was still full from last year. And then I cleaned everything. I didn't know what to write. I like to visualize the entire year. So this is the first 4 months, second 4 months, and the last 4 months. And shout out to York University. But yeah, like, and I didn't know what to write. So I just wrote this: God, I surrender my year to you. And then COVID-19 happened. And I couldn't have done anything if I had planned to anyways. So yeah. So I wanted to share this. Live like crazy and sell like crazy. As an author, that's something that's always so give of your best all the time, you'll sell like crazy. And another thing is this. Um, Water flows better from the top. Always start at the top. And I'll give you an example. There was a time I wanted to get something done at Indigo, and I needed to reach head office for that. And so I decided, you know what? I'm not going to go after managers who are going to keep me waiting. I'm just going to reach out to Heather Reisman herself. She's the head of chapters. Whatever she says goes. So I guessed her email. I just guessed her email. Within 5 minutes, she replied, and she she passed me on to her vice president, and whatever I wanted was done. That's it. Always start from the top, no matter what. And
Wow.
last but not least, I'm going to share with you what somebody shared with me here. You matter. It's simple as that. Just when you don't think what you're doing matters, if you think you know how to cook, if you can only cook, rather, if you think you can only cook and you don't think that's a talent, the fact that you don't think it's a talent means it's a talent because it comes so effortless. It matters. If you can only write a book and you think that's all you can, that's if you don't value that, that means you should value that. And okay, I'm sorry, Ellie. You asked for this, so you can blame yourself here. I'm talking so much. I'm gonna share with you. This is another thing that I was doing a book signing in Barrie, and when I do book signing, people just come up to me and just give me stuff. Um, this, I kid you not, this bracelet, I've been playing with it all day, but this bracelet, I think this 13-year-old guy came up to me and gave me this book because he loved my book. He just gave me this bracelet. And this is another thing. Um, uh, this watch, this Timex watch. I really wanted a Timex watch because I gave my old one away, and I was doing an Oshawa signing. This guy Scott, I met him a while ago, but he came by to say hi, and then just when he left, he came back to me and say, "I feel like giving you this watch." He just gave me his watch. And So this is a note that somebody wrote to me, a friend of mine. I was doing a book signing at Barry. She just walked up to me. She was telling me about the scripture. The next day, she had written it down. She came and found me and gave it to me. Persevere and endure. God promises, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. Yahaya, persevere, thinking of you. And this is another one. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap the harvest if we do not give up. He who endures till the end shall be saved. And this is her fingers. I didn't notice this until later on when I got home. You see how each person's finger is long? This right here, this is her pinky, but her I think this finger had been injured in some kind of accident. This was cut. This is cut. So she has like half of this two fingers. I'm not an anatomy, guys. Don't blame me here. But so she wrote all of this stuff for me, and I don't know. I just wanted to share that with you. Never judge anybody. You don't know who's out here to help you in any way, shape, or form. You don't know where they're going to bring you. Yeah, Tracy, I know exactly what you mean. It just comes back at you, right? But it's like you don't know who is out. You don't know what each person is out to teach you, young or the old. Like I've had people come up to me and just buy me coffee. I had a guy who just this 60-year-old, no, this 80-year-old guy. Um, when you look at him, you just be like, man, this guy ain't got nothing to offer me. That would be perception. That's what I would normally just say to people. But I know obviously then now I know it's not right to say stuff like that, but like first blush perception, you look at people and be like, that person may not have what, but he he came to me. He didn't buy my book, but he came to me, shook my hand. He said, "Don't look at what I put in your hand until I've left." I decided I'm not going to look. I just put it in my pocket. I came home and I was like, what is this paper in my hand? I looked out, it was $100 bill in my pocket. I'm like, what? And then I was like, oh, that's what he gave me. Or another person just walked up and gave me a gift card to buy coffee to keep going. Or this other guy, he just walked up to me, and sorry, I'm gonna swear. He just walked up to me and was like, don't fucking quit. And he just walked away. What? So it's
Wow.
like when you give people a chance to let them be who they need to be to you, you'll be surprised. And yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to say. There you go. You asked for a quote, I gave you a book. Fantastic. And this is where I
My
dropped the mic.
gosh.
Bang! I ain't got the mic to drop, but I wish I did.
Jeez, that's inspiring in itself. Just because you know what, you're running towards your goals. You're pushing yourself, you're doing it, and as you continue to get up every single day and do what you're doing, people are encouraging you by putting that coffee in your hand, by putting those gift cards, that $100 bill, you know what I mean? Like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's amazing, Yahaya.
thank you.
Congratulations, man. You're doing awesome things.
Thank you. And
Um, I
congratulations
don't
to
even
you as
know.
well. Keep going.
Yes, yes, I definitely will, and you as well. I'm right there with you. It's about manifestation. It is about manifestation, and you are manifesting greatness. Like just your aura, everything is just
Thank
like,
you.
yes, I'm doing this. Like, I love
Thank you.
it. I love
Thank you.
it.
All right.
Guys, I just want to thank you again, Yahaya. I want to thank everybody for hopping on this
Thank you.
live today. You guys stuck with
Thank you.
us the whole time. You know what I mean? I appreciate you guys. And head over to strugglesofadreamer.com. Make sure you guys read the first 25 pages and then buy the book. Buy
Exactly.
the book, buy the trilogy. Make sure you prepay for that. Invest in greatness because this is greatness right here.
Thank you very
Greatness.
much. Thank you.
Greatness.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Yahaya, you take care. Have
You too.
yourself a great
Thank you.
night.
Thank you.
And let me know when you get the book.
I will.
Snail mail. I don't know what's going on. Like that was mailed. So like, what's going
Oh,
on? I don't know.
it's
But
Canada Post. Sorry, one more thing. If you're gonna order your stuff, make sure you order from now because Canada Post is saying if people are not ordering their Christmas present, they're not getting it in time. So there will be
Wow.
delays. The mails will be backed up. It's guaranteed. It's gonna
Yeah,
happen. So it's a Christmas season to remember. But I'll definitely let you know
true.
when I receive it, and I'll write you a review as well. Like I said,
I appreciate it.
no problem.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you
Okay,
very much again.
strugglesofadreamer.com. We will definitely check it out.
Thank you, and
All
God bless
right.
you and your family.
God bless you as well.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
Salute.
All right. Later. Wow, guys. Wow. That was crazy. Whoo, what? Like, I don't even know, because usually the day after I do an interview, I write a review, a little write up on the interview. And I'm here taking notes, and I'm just like, what, like, there's just, my gosh, like, there's so many gems that Yahaya has dropped on us today. So much important information, inspirational, motivational, just like there's just so much. There's just so much. So I want to encourage you guys all to dope is right. You know what I mean? Like I'm just speechless. Encourage you guys to just run towards your dreams. Like run towards your dreams. You got to just head towards those dreams, man. Like start that vision board, write that book, start that business, do what it is that you want to do. We are all, I always say this, we're all super unique. Nobody is like anybody else. And even if you are an author, even if you're doing something and there's 1,000,000,000 people that are doing the exact same profession, know that you are going to bring something unique to the game. You are going to bring something different to the game. You are special. We all have these talents and gifts that are designed specifically for us. Nobody can bring it like you can bring it. So I just want to encourage everybody to run towards your dreams. I was just saying, I'm going to be doing another 10-day challenge starting December 10th to December 19th. You guys know what it is. We just push ourselves to do more. Set some goals and join me on the 10-day challenge and push yourself just a little bit harder than you have been every single day, just to reach those goals, finish the year strong, because 2020 is not over. You can still, if you had a vision at the beginning of this year and you wanted to make sure you aspire to reach certain goals, it's still possible. Remember, everything is figure outable. All right. My mom says figure outable is not a word, but you know what? It is a word. I don't believe her. It's a word, and we definitely can figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So guys, I want to just thank you all. I appreciate you guys for hopping on today with me and Yahaya, just to hear his message, to hear his gems, and just be encouraged. Be encouraged, and I will see you next week, same time, same place. And I also, oh my gosh, I almost forgot, guys. This today marks my 70th interview. Today is number 70. I've had 70 interviews, and I am just so happy, excited, honored, blessed, and grateful that I've reached this mark. This is huge for me. This is huge, huge, huge. So I just want to thank all of you guys for sticking with me for all this time. I want to thank everybody who has done an interview with me, who have like I reach out to so many people in their DMs, and I honestly like just ask them, hey, this is my name, I'm Ellie. Do you want to friggin' do an interview with me? And you guys, like, you respond to me, you hop on my live, you support me, and this is nothing that I would have ever expected myself to do. Like I never would see myself doing this. Like honestly, if I remember the first time I ever did an interview, I'm just like, what? I could never see myself doing this ever. Like I could never see myself. And here I am. This is number 70. So thank you, Yahaya, for being number 70. And thank you guys all for supporting me. I appreciate you. Like this is hashtag road to 100. This is hashtag road to 1,000. I don't even know what my goal is. I don't even know why I'm doing this or what I'm doing. But honestly, this is huge. This is a huge milestone for me, and I just want to thank you guys all for this because obviously without you people, I would not be able to reach this milestone. You know what I mean? So thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. So yeah, today is a big day, but I just want to encourage you guys to whew, like, oh my gosh, I'm just feeling overwhelmed right now. But I just want to thank you guys for everything and encourage you guys to just run towards your vision and goal. And as you start to run towards your vision and your goals, they're going to metamorphosize. They're going to change. They're going to develop. As you develop, your goals are going to develop. They're going to become bigger, and just keep reaching for the stars because you got this, right? All right, guys. Thank you. Next week, same time, same place, right here on Instagram, 8